All right, let's jump right in. We're going to tackle one of the most famous phrases in history, but with a twist. A twist that might just completely change how you see it forever.
You've heard this one, right? Render to Caesar, and so on. Most people think it's pretty simple. It's about separating church and state. You know, pay your taxes, do your civic duty, and then also be faithful to God. Seems straightforward on the surface.
But what if that's not the point at all? What if we've been missing the real genius behind these words? For this explainer, we're going to look at this not as some simple moral lesson, but as an absolutely brilliant legal takedown. And the key piece of evidence? It's the coin itself. Trust me, where this leads is, well, it's pretty mind-blowing. All right, first, you got to understand the setup. This wasn't some friendly chat. Jesus is cornered, in public, by his opponents. And they hit him with what they think is the ultimate gotcha question. A question about paying a Roman tax that's designed to have no right answer.
And I mean, this was a perfect trap. A total lose-lose. Look at the options here. If he says, yeah, pay the tax, he is a traitor to his own people, basically siding with the Roman occupiers. But if he says, no, don't pay it, well, that's treason, and treason gets you killed. See? There's literally no way out. Or so they thought.
But this is where it gets so good. He doesn't answer the question. He doesn't fall for it. Instead, he pivots. Hard. He completely flips the script. In one move, he turns this public ambush into a courtroom, and he makes a demand. He says, show me the evidence. Show me the coin. Okay, so now let's put that coin under the microscope, because this little piece of silver isn't just money anymore. It's Exhibit A, and it's the key to a masterclass in legal jujitsu.
So let's break down what's actually written on this coin, because this is the absolute heart of the argument. This thing doesn't just say Tiberius. Oh no. Look at these titles. Son of the Divine Augustus, the Exalted One. Every single word is building a case that the person on this coin isn't just a man, he's a god.
And this right here is the critical point. You have the man, Tiberius Claudius Nero, and then you have the legal identity stamped on the coin. And those two things are not the same. One is a mortal ruler, the other is a divine god king. There's this massive gap between the reality of the man and the claim on the coin. And that gap, that's everything.
Okay, you ready for the takedown? This is where Jesus takes the coin's own arrogant claims, all that divine language, and uses it as a weapon to completely demolish the trap they set for him. It's absolutely brilliant.
So the first move is pure genius. He basically says, okay, I'll play. He accepts the coin's claim at face value. You say this thing is divine property, stamped with the name of a god? Fine, let's roll with that. Let's assume that's 100% legally true.
Then comes the next move, and it's so subtle but so powerful. When he gives his answer, he doesn't use any of those fancy god titles from the coin. He just says, Caesar, the simple political title for a man, for a king. By doing that, he's shining a giant spotlight on that identity gap we were just talking about. And the logic that follows is just airtight. Think about it. If Caesar, the man, wants this coin, he can't have it. Why not? Because the coin itself says it's divine property. A mortal man has no legal claim to something that's explicitly marked as belonging to a god.
Okay, but what if Caesar says, fine, I'll claim it as a god? Well, that doesn't work either, because according to Scripture, there's already a higher claim on all divine property. All the silver and gold already belongs to God. So either way he tries to claim it, he loses. It is a perfect checkmate.
And boom, just like that, the trap collapses. But it collapses on the people who set it. The incredible irony is that Caesar's own pride, the pompous language he stamped on his own money, becomes the very legal reason he can't have it. He has no jurisdiction here.
So you might be thinking, okay, that's a cool story, but what does a 2,000-year-old debate about a coin have to do with me? Well, everything actually, because this argument sets a massive precedent for how we think about our rights and, crucially, the limits of government power.
This old argument really helps us draw a line in the sand between two types of rights, alienable and unalienable. Think of it like this. Alienable rights are things we're okay with delegating to the government, to keep society running smoothly, like managing roads or public safety. But unalienable rights, those are different. Things like your life, your conscience, your very identity, those don't come from the government. The idea is that they come from a higher power, and because of that, the state can't touch them. It can't tax them, license them, or take them away.
And that's the punchline for today. You see the parallel, right? Just like Rome stamped its image on God's gold, claiming ownership over something that wasn't theirs, we have to watch out for modern governments that try to stamp their authority on things that aren't theirs to claim, our unalienable rights.
So what's the big takeaway here? Render to Caesar what is Caesar's is not a command for blind submission. It's the complete opposite. It's a line in the sand. It's a boundary marker that puts a hard limit on state power. It's basically saying to the government, you can have what is actually yours and not 1 inch more.
And that leaves us with one last big question to chew on. If we take this ancient principle and apply it to our world today, we have to ask ourselves, what in our lives is being stamped with Caesar's image that truly belongs to God? Where do we see the state trying to claim ownership over things, our rights, our identity, our conscience, that are fundamentally not theirs to claim?